वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासां ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। नमो नलिननेत्राय वेणुवाद्यविनोदिने राधाधरसुधापान शालिने वनमालिने महाभावस्वरूपास्त्वं कृष्णप्रियवरीयसे प्रेमभक्तिप्रदे देवी श्रीराधिका त्वं नमोऽस्तुते। Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized, text number 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekah kurunandana bahushakha yanantasya buddhayo अव्यवसायिनां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिर् एकेह कुरुनन्दन बहुशाखायनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो अव्यवसायिनाम् 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 व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिर् एकेह कुरुनन्दन बहुशाखा हि अनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम् व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिर् एकेह कुरुनन्दन Bahushakha hi anantasya buddhayo avyavasayinam. Vyavasayatmika, resolute in Krishna consciousness. Buddhi, intelligence. Eka, only one. Iha, in this world. Kurunandana, O beloved child of the Kurus. Bahushakha, having various branches. He, indeed. Anantaha, unlimited. Cha, also. Buddhayaha, intelligence. Avyavasayinam, for those who are not in Krishna consciousness. Those who are not, who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. Purport. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika, intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 22, text 62 states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudhrudha Nishchay, Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, and nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagements of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like a good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As by watering root of a tree, one automatically distributes water, can render the highest service to everyone, to the leaves and branches. So, by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master who is bona fide, representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna, and one should accept the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master as a one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayers for the spiritual master as follows. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadan na gati kutopi dhyayam stuvansya yashas trisandhyam vande guroho shri charanaravindam. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of a Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should therefore meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on a perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically, but practically. When there is no longer a chance for a sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities, one who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Adadanasya Tranam Dante Ridam Yache Punah Srimad Rupa Padam Bhojo Dhulisyam Mama Janmani Janmani Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guruna Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sachivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sayitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka yanantasya buddhayo avyavasayina. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. In the first line of purport, Prabhupada explains about faith. Because the whole spiritual life starts with the faith. And here Prabhupada says that a strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika. That is intelligence. If one has a full faith that by practicing Krishna consciousness he can attain the highest perfection. And what is that highest perfection? Sorry? Yeah. But in this same purport, Prabhupada gives definition of that. In this second last line of the same para, Prabhupada says, the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. That means if someone becomes 100% Krishna consciousness, definitely there is no conception of material life at all. And this is the real knowledge. In the next line, Prabhupada says about that. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Which knowledge? This knowledge. That one has to get rid of material conception of life. And that's why in the last 20-21 verses, Lord is speaking about the soul, our real identity. If we don't understand that we are not this body, but spiritual part and parcel of the Lord, it will be very difficult to understand any sort of spiritual knowledge. Because as long as this material conception of life is there, it's very difficult to understand anything which is spiritual. And that's why Prabhupada says that to understand that we are not this body but a spirit soul is the first footstep or first step in the spiritual life. Because everything spiritual can't be understood through our blunt material senses. As we have discussed in few days back, that Sridhar Goswami, when he writes purports on this particular series of shlokas, he says the spiritual knowledge is avaka manaso gocharaha. It can't be explained by speech, not understood or fathomed by the mind, and can't be understood through these blunt senses. Because the material mind, material intelligence, and these material senses, they have their own limitations. And spiritual knowledge is, it is said that it is like a achintya, inconceivable. But how you can understand that knowledge? Prabhupada has given that process. In the next 2 paragraphs, he explains about taking training from the experienced teacher who has experience in spiritual practices in Krishna consciousness. There are people, they are gurus, but everyone is not that perfect in Krishna consciousness. Because there are different processes which are given in the Vedas to understand their lordship. But the process which is sublime, that's what Prabhupada says. He says that, what is meant by faith? Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. That one has to understand. And what is that sublime? Prabhupada says it's Krishna consciousness. What Lord Chaitanya has given is sublime. And what he has given us? Krishna bhavana. That is Krishna consciousness. And the person, as Prabhupada says, who is bona fide representative of Krishna and who knows the nature of student and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. If someone takes instruction from him and follows it, then it's possible for him to understand this knowledge. Why? Because such a soul who is totally nurtured and who has cultivated this Krishna consciousness are very rare. Kotishvapi Mahamuni. That's what Bhagavatam says. Sudurlabha Prashantatma Kotishvapi Mahamune. Sudurlabha. It's very difficult to find them. Prashantatma, whose mind is equipoised. And whom he is telling? He is telling to Mahamuni. Muni means the person who has controlled his mind and who gives different commentaries on the Vedic Shastras. Amongst that Muni, someone is Mahamuni, who know the real essence of Vedas. And that kind of a person is very, very difficult to find. And if you are blessed by their lordship, by seeing your sincere and serious desire to make progress in Krishna consciousness, by his grace only you can get such a person. Otherwise it's very difficult. Brahmanda Brahmite kono bhagyavan jeev. Guru Krishna prasade paye bhakti lata bich. Guru Krishna prasade paye. See, these three things are related to each other. Guru, Krishna, and that bhagyavan jeev. If someone is really fortunate, has some pious previous life's credits, then it's possible for him to come in touch with pure devotees. And sometimes, by the causeless mercy of devotee, they may bless him with that, by seeing his sincerity. And they gave him Krishna consciousness. And if someone gets that, then Prabhupada here says that he should take instruction from the spiritual master as one's mission of life. It's very important. We sit somewhere to hear something and engage our mind in something else. Someone is teaching, someone is drawing. Where is our mind? Are we really there? That never happens. That's why here says that vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana. You have to concentrate. See, there are 4 kinds of shrotas as explained in Puranas. If you are there to give your precious time to hear something, you really put your heart into that. Otherwise, it's like we don't have any place to sit. So let's say it's quiet place, nobody is making any sound. So we can just sit and do our things. But see, there are 4 qualities of shrotas. How they are, what they are, and how they should hear it. It's said that one is like a chataka. You know the chataka bird? Have you heard about? Huh? He only drinks the water directly from sky. And how? That is only on particular nakshatra if it is false. That's on Swati nakshatra. On the Swati nakshatra, if there is a rainfall, and that water which has not touched the earth, in the air itself, that Chataka drinks. So the Shrota should be like that. That's what's... Shaunaka, Rishi, he is asking to Sutta Goswami, and Sutta Goswami explained about this speaker, about Shrotas, how they should be. It should be like a Chataka. That he should, when he hears, he should hear so carefully and with a rapt attention that each and every word he should listen. That's Shataka. Then second one he says, like a Hansa. What is the particular quality of Hansa? Huh? Yeah, Nirakshira Bhedayo. When, if you mix water in milk and give it to Hansa, he will drink only milk. So Shrota, when he hears anything about spiritual life, he only takes that which really gives boost to his spiritual practices. He takes that only. That is Hansa. Then there is one more, which is known as Meena. Meena means fish. Even in the water, with unblinking eyes, fish sees everything. So like that, with a rapt attention, if you look at the speaker and try to understand what he is saying, that kind of a Shrota is known as a Meena. So it's very, very important, because this knowledge has given us to take away from the material conception of life. See, in the last two lines of this purport, Prabhupada says that the whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body. Not theoretically, but practically, when there is no longer a chance of sense gratification manifested in the fruitive activities. One who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by the various types of fruitive acts. If really our heart is not absorbed in this knowledge, while hearing, while reading, it will be very difficult. In the first chapter of 10th canto, I think it's a 4th shloka, which is there on the first page of Krishna book also. Prabhupada has specifically quoted on. The people who are not interested about hearing the wonderful pastimes of their Lordship, they are like a Pashugnas. They are like a butcher. They are killing their own soul. Because that is what gives strength to the soul. Hearing about the Lordship and hearing about His activities. Because as long as we are on the bodily platform, as Prabhupada says here, our mind is diverted by so many activities which affects our consciousness. So one has to be very, very careful. In, I think, fourth canto, 34th chapter, when the Prachetas, they met Shivji, and Shivji was very much pleased with them. Why? By seeing their cooperation, how they are cooperating each other for going or progressing in their Krishna consciousness. By seeing that, Shivji was so pleased with them, and he told them that it's very difficult to get association of pure devotees. Tulyam lavenapi. Even a fraction of lava. Lava means like a 1/10 part of a second. Even that fraction of a time, if you get association of pure devotee, martyanam kimu utashisham, it is said. For the mortal souls who are staying in this material world, for them it is utashisa, it's the biggest benediction, they have said. If you get a lavamatra sadhu sangha, that really changes your life. Why? Because as Prabhupada said here, that because they have perfectly practiced Krishna consciousness. They have practiced and they have with them, that's why they can deliver it to others also. And if you are, by causeless mercy of their Lordship, if you get a chance to associate with such a soul, then whatever he says, that instruction has to be taken as a mission of a life. See, three profound sentences that Prabhupada has written in this purport. What is meant by faith? What is our life's mission? And lastly, he says that what can really gives us a perfect knowledge. First thing is that, he says, the unflinching faith means trust in something which is sublime. And what is that sublime? Just we discussed. Krishna consciousness. It is sublime. Divya. Udatta, that we can say in English. In Sanskrit. Udatta. Divya. If you have faith in that, and that is also unflinching. And in the first line, Prabhupada says, there is strong faith that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life, is called Vyavasayatmika. And what is that highest perfection? That get rid of the material conception of body, or bodily conception of life. That means to understand or to accept ourselves as a spirit soul. It's very dry to hear, but it's very, very important to understand. Without understanding this, it's very tough to understand the glories of their Lordship and their wonderful activities that has explained in all over the scripture. Because on the bodily platform, we start hearing about Lord's activities, then we will start comparing them with whatever experiences we had through our material senses. And then it will be a mess. Rather than enjoying that glories, we will start offending their Lordship. That's why it is necessary to get rid of this material conception of life, to get rid of this bodily conception of life. It's very important. Otherwise, you may read, now you can see there are so many things are going on around Vrindavan. So many Babajis, there are so many programs they are trying to conduct. But for what? Prabhupada says here that You may do it as a tradition, maybe for the humility or maybe for the nationality. Yesterday I was just moving around from this Chatikara, I was hearing that he was giving Bhagavad Sapta and he was explaining about the government has one notion that save the girl, save the nation. And he was speaking about that during his Bhagavatam discourse. That's what the thing that you have to give in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Why they are doing that? Because they have not understood that what is a sublime thing as explained. They don't have an experience about sublime, what is Divya. That's why whichever platform they are, that only they will give. They will discuss political things, they will discuss family life, they will discuss communal life, social life. These are all things which can be discussed on different stage, on different atmosphere. Not when you are speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Because these things are not at all related with that. That one has to understand. And when once understand this, then his activities are totally different. They are totally different. In previous verse we have seen that Sukhe dukhe same krutpala bhala bhojaya jao tato yuddhai yujjasva naiva papam avapyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by so doing, you shall never incur sin. In materialistic point of view, people, if they will think, oh, what Arjuna has done? He also fought. He also killed so many people. Same like a Duryodhana. What's the difference? Being with a Krishna. He also heard Bhagavad Gita. But Lord says that he has done it for the sake of Krishna. Because Lord asked him to do that. And when their Lordship has asked, means there is a purpose. He has not done anything for his own sense gratification, but he has done it for the gratification of their Lordship. And for that they are ready to do anything and everything. In material point of view, it may be condemned. Like, there is one Alwar in South India. He robbed people. He stolen things from big landlords' houses. And he built Ranganath temple. He used to have 4 disciples. And they were really expert. One was so expert in mesmerizing people. He used to talk, and hundreds of people just used to They used to forget everything. They used to be in rapt attention to hearing. And one was so expert that he used to go, enter that house. Nobody can notice him in that way. And he can open any kind of a lock. Third one was so expert that he can carry as much as you put on his head. And fourth one was so expert that he used to walk on the water. So what he used to do? He used to go along with his 4 disciples. And they used to do their all things. And then he used to dump all the Lakshmi in the one island of the Kaveri. And by that Lakshmi, he built a big temple of Ranganath for Ranganathji. Once they went to one Buddhist monastery, and there they stole out the Lord Buddha's statue, golden statue. They brought it back, they melted it, and made a cover for Ranganatha's shikhar. You can see it now also. It's so big. Then you can imagine what big that deity must be. In one point of view, if you see that, you will think, what is this? What kind of people are this? They are stealing. But for whom they were doing? To glorify their Lordship. And for that they never considered Their family obligation, their social, their national or communal, anything, they won't care about that. They wanted to do it for their lordship and they did it. So, if someone is not on that transcendental platform or who does not have knowledge about this sublime nature of services, they will condemn that person, they will offend that person's activities, and they will lose taste in spirituality. That's why it's very difficult. In Chaitanya Bhagavad it is said, Vaishnavera Kriya Mudra Vijnana Bhuja. By your own senses, by your own understanding, if you want to try to fathom the activities of Vaishnava, it will be very difficult. You may become more offensive. Rather than that, it's better to shut your mouth and be introspective and try to work on ourselves, where we are, what we are. That's what we are not doing actually. For years together, maybe 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, we are practicing. But did any time we sat and really thought about, for last 15 years, what have I done? As Loknath Maharaj used to say every time in his lectures, that we should do Simhavalokan. You know Simhavalokan means? Simha means lion. Avalokan means you should look like him. Generally when he walks few steps and then again very gorgeously he looks back. That is called as a Simhavalokan. Means when he looks back, he takes notice of everything, whatever he has crossed. Means whatever he has passed, he take look of that. And that's what one should do in his spiritual life, in his practices. Okay, for last few years I'm chanting, I'm reading. So let me look back. How much I have done? What I have done? Really, it is justified, the time I spent it for that? That should be done. In the same room where we go and pay obeisances to Prabhupada, it's very, very important last instruction Prabhupada has given to his disciples. He said, now it's the time to boil the milk. What is meant by that? Now it's the time to boil the milk. When you boil the milk, what happens? Yeah, it becomes thick. Water gets evaporated and it becomes thick. So now we should give much and more time for self-cultivation. Now time to boil ourselves, to read, to think, to discuss. And when we do that, then we can improve in the knowledge. As Prabhupada said, the resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. How we can get that knowledge? By regularly hearing, discussing, contemplating on that, then only it will happen. Otherwise, years together, every day classes are going on. We are staying here in Vrindavan for last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. We also come sometimes here. That will not make any difference. So really, because see, it's very simple. It is said in Shastras that to get a liberation, that can be achieved just by staying in a dham. Because Vastavyat Muktida means just by staying here you will get liberated. But that does not mean that you will get a real happiness of dham. If you want to get sukha, dham sukh, that's what they say, then you need to be very, very careful while staying here and performing our practices. Just being in a dham, all the creatures, they get liberated. But liberation does not mean the swananda or sukha, the real pleasure. That does not mean. And that when you get it when you practice Krishna consciousness in the guidance of very experienced person whom we call as a spiritual master. And Prabhupada quotes from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's very famous song that every day we sing. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, yasya prasadat na gati kutopi. How much understanding really we have about this verse? For years together we are singing. Really it means us? Really we think about that? The day we think, the falashruti of these ashtakas, Bhakti Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, by just singing these 8 stanzas, one will get entrance into the Lord's wonderful activities performed in Vraja. Labhate Hari Leelanu Sangaha. That person get entrance in the Lord's activities going on in Vrindavan. In Shastras it is said, anyone practices any spiritual process for 12 years, he achieves that perfection. So this gives us a thought of looking back. Are we really serious and done it for last so many years? Because this whole purport, Prabhupada is giving emphasis on resolute intelligence, vyavasayatmika buddhi, which means with all concentration, if you do this, then result is there. And what is that result? The end of material conception of life. The end of bodily conception of life. So let's try. Be together, read together, discuss together. Then this knowledge can be helpful for us, can become profound for us, and we can take it very easily in our life. Otherwise, okay, I read Bhagavad Gita, I think 4 or 5 times I have read. Arjuna heard just once, and the whole thing changed for him. And for us, every year I do it. There are people who read it for every Ekadashi, whole 700 shlokas. There are few devotees who read once in a year at least, whole Bhagavad Gita. That's on the Gita Jayanti day. But that really makes some difference for us? No. Why? Because as Prabhupada says here, that one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. If we really think like that, then definitely this lifetime is last. Go back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise then again, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janini, jathare shayanam. Ye sansare bahudustare. Krupaya pare pahi murare. Again coming back, taking different bodies as per the previous and present karmas and suffering in the womb of mothers. But Prabhupada says, try to make it as a last. No more coming back. When we will not come back, that 3 things he has given in this purport. When we have an unflinching faith in Krishna consciousness, which will give us a highest perfection of life. That means, faith means really unflinching trust in sublime. What is sublime? That is Krishna consciousness. And what else we discussed? What is the highest perfection? To get rid of the material conception of life. So let's pray for each other and try to study the scripture so that we can achieve these three things that Prabhupada has explained and expected from us. Hare Krishna. Any question? Any doubt? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Bhagavad Gita ki.